All right, so a lot of you guys have requested I speak about the watches that I do own. And so here is the video of the watches I own. Not every watch, I do own a lot more than what I'm showing you because I don't know how interested you would be in some of the quartz watches that I have. So I'm gonna just speak about a few of the quartz watches, but this one will be most of the mechanical watches that I do own. So let's start off with this Rolex Explorer 5500, which just came back out of the shop. Now, a brief story on this one. Or I can just say in general, I do like vintage watches. I like vintage watches because of the size. I have a smaller wrist, and so I find that some of the newer watches that came out in 42, 43, 44 millimeters is just too big for my wrist. And also when you want to wear a shirt or a jacket and you have the watch that's kind of like making it bulky here on your shirt, it just doesn't work. For example, I bought a Rogue Territory work shirt, which I'm sure some of you who watch my channel probably own, and if you don't own, you would like. And I had a dive watch at the time, and I could not button my cuff because the watch was too fat. And so I had to leave it open, and I was kind of like, that's just ridiculous. And I ended up selling that watch, and it just didn't work out. That's why I like 39 millimeter and lower. So for me, my sweet spot is 34 millimeter to 39 millimeters. Anything above that, I can go 40, but anything above 40 is ridiculous and it's not really necessary. So, as this is the Rolex Explorer 5500, vintage, I want to say 1968, I believe. And to me, this Explorer is perfect for, well, let's say if it were still waterproof and water resistant, it would be a perfect everyday watch where you can dress it up, dress it down. You can wear this with a suit. You can wear this with a denim shirt, t-shirt. Being that it is vintage and no longer waterproof, I have to baby it a bit more than I normally would. This to me is not something that I can knock around. Like I'll take this off. You see like my Oris that you guys see I wear every day. This Oris Diver 65. This is something, this is a 39. This is a 39, this is a 34. So you can see the difference there. But you guys see me wearing this one a lot. This is a pretty good everyday watch that, or what some people call a beater watch, something that you can wear every day and knock around. It is still waterproof completely because it is a newer watch. So I don't have to worry about, getting it, submerging it in water, getting it wet or whatever. This one, I had a whole list of things that needed to be done when I took it to the shop because it was running 10 minutes fast. And so I really didn't wear it that often because it was running 10 minutes fast. And so it's like, what's the point? So I took it to the shop, and initially I took it to Rolex. And Rolex, they would do the work, but they would change it to an Air King. And I did not want that. So I went to another place, and they were like, you need a new crown, you need this, you need that, you need the entire watch needs to be disassembled and cleaned. And they were like, it's gonna cost $1,400. I was like, what? Are you serious? So I ended up doing it because I was either gonna sell it because and just have someone else do the work. And so basically it would have been a great deal. I would have sold it what I paid for it a few years ago, and then they would just put the work in and put the money in to get it back to working. But I was like, just do it, wear it. It's a beautiful watch. And so I spent the $1,500 to get the whole list of things that needed to be done to it. And it's running perfectly. It has a new crown on there. It has a new crystal because the crystal had a ding in it from it's from 68. Yeah, it's back to to running shape, and I've been wearing it. Not I've been wearing it as much as I possibly can because now I'm really into this. I put in first, what I paid for it, and then putting in, the 1500 bucks. So it's like now I'm like, okay, you really need to take care of this. So this one, I think there's two Rolex that are made that I find to be like the perfect everyday standard. Like you can dress it up, dress down. This is one of them, and then the other one is this one here, which has the date. This is the, what do they call this? This is the Rolex Oyster date with the Cyclops for the date. To me, these two are just perfect Rolex watches. I really like having the date because I just find that really useful. The Submariner I do like, but it's a tool watch, and it kind of bugs me when I see someone wearing a Submariner and they're wearing a suit, because a Submariner is a tool watch and it's not really something that you should wear a suit. Like if you're really being picky, if I'm really being picky. So like I wouldn't wear my Diver 65 with a suit because it's just not what I would wear this Oyster date. This is something more you can dress up, or I would wear this, Memovox. But I believe this one can go either way. The Explorer, if it only had a date, it'd be top. But this one you can dress up, dress down. Being that it's a 34 millimeter, it's nice size. Like Rolex did a 39 millimeter Explorer, which I think is a really good size as well, and I think it's sold well, and a lot of people like it as their everyday watch because it's just does what you need to do. It's just beautiful, perfect. All right, moving on. So the Oyster date is this one. This one I think I need to take to the shop as well, but I'm dreading it. This one I wear and wore a great deal. Because of, as I was saying, it's just the perfect everyday watch. Has the date. It's looks great. This is a 60. I believe this is 68 as well. I got this from a dealer in California, and this strap has some nice patina. I got the strap from Boulogne & Sons, I believe it's called. This one is from there too. Both of these straps are from, but this one had a lighter. Natural color, and then just with time it has this beautiful patina. But I like putting I prefer a leather strap over a bracelet. I don't really like wearing bracelets. It's just my preference. I don't have hairy arms, so it's not about like the bracelet catching hair on my arms. It's just a preference. I really like leather. I like how it looks. I like that, it will age and, get a nice patina over time. So one of my, let's see, we'll go into the Omega. This Omega Seamaster, this is from 1950s. This one came with the bracelet, with the original bracelet, and I removed it and put on a leather. Initially it was a brown leather, then I went with a green leather, and then now I have this white, I guess, what are they? It's like a cream kind of color on here. So I do have the original bracelet, but I don't if I sell it, then I can, put it back on and someone can, have that. And the thing about it, like having the bracelet and removing it, is that it stays in mint condition in case you want to sell your watch. But this one here, this was the first mechanical watch that I purchased, and I have to say, between these two, honestly, you can't go wrong. This one has a date. It's nice size. It's something you can dress up and dress down. This one is a damn near like great everyday watch. If it were waterproof, but being that it's from the 1950s, it no longer has that ability. It would be that perfect watch, but this one, you have to remove if you're gonna take a shower, jump in a pool, or what have you, because that's the price of a vintage watch, is that they no longer have their water resistance, unfortunately. Moving on to a watch that I wore a lot. I'm a huge fan of Jaeger-LeCoultre JLC. This is the Futurematic. I wore this one a lot. This one was really cool, and I ended up going to Jaeger-LeCoultre and getting a custom gray strap, ostrich strap, to match this with a 14 with a gold clasp. I'm sorry, a gold buckle to go with the watch. That was not cheap. Unfortunately, the hour hand on the watch went missing, so I'm gonna have to get this one, take this one in to get repaired, which is gonna cost me a pretty penny. But this one, I love this watch so much. I wore it every day, which is why it somehow ended up I ended up having the hour hand fall off, and wah wah. Yeah, I was really hurt about that. That one hurt me because I love that one. Okay, now this one is the Memovox. So this is also a Jaeger-LeCoultre. This one, this one's cool. So this one has an alarm. They call this the Cricket. Let's see if I can get the alarm to go off. Let's wind it. Wait, let's set it. Oops. Set it. I'll put it next to the mic so you can hear it winding. And then we'll see if we can get it to go off. Pretty cool, right? So this one is, I love that. So this one is the Memovox. They call it a Cricket as well, the nickname. This is a Jaeger-LeCoultre. I went and I have the same band in gray ostrich. I just haven't put it on. But this one, I really like. And I must confess, I need to go take it into repairs. But I kind of been dreading it because it is expensive. But that's the thing about having vintage watches, is that they, you know, like if anyone owns a BMW or a Porsche, or, you know, any kind of like luxury car, you know that when something goes wrong, you're gonna have to pay a lot to get it fixed. And that's basically when it comes to any kind of high-end watches. If there's something that needs to be repaired, you're gonna have to pay. So this one I need to send it to the shop just to get a quick tune-up. But I'm scared because I know it's going to cost me some money. All right, so now the watch that I'll take this off, that you guys see me wearing a lot. This I got a great deal on. This I bought used. This is the Oris Diver 65, which has a lot of vintage details on it. It's a smaller watch. It has like a nice little bubble on the crystal, and the numbers on the dial pay homage to the vintage Diver 65 from years past. So this one, you guys always see on my wrist when I'm doing my boot reviews and what have you. So I travel with this one quite a bit, because if, for example, God forbid, if I lost it or whatever, it wouldn't be like a big deal. But so that's why I kind of like will travel with this one. I believe I have traveled with the Omega as well, but it's just something that, you know, I can knock around and it won't feel so bad if you know, it got a little beat up, versus like some of these that have cost me a bit more money. I would be like, I would feel sick. All right, now let's get into watches that I really enjoy since I was a kid. Well, yeah, I guess since I was a kid. So growing up, every year my mom would get me a new watch for the school year, and so I would go and I would pick out a watch, and these were mostly like nothing crazy expensive. There was like maybe like a Fossil. They were all quartz watches, but I still do have a great love for a really cool quartz watch. And for me, a quartz watch that's inexpensive but probably just designed really, really well is this Casio. This is let me give you the number, the GA2100 in red, all red, which is just a fun, bright color. I think it's thin enough, sits on the wrist nicely, and it's gonna, because like some G-Shocks are huge and they're really bulky. And I think this one, to me, they have an assortment of colors, but this one I thought, if you're gonna go fun, if you're gonna go quartz and you're gonna go like funky and fun, I went with a red. I was like, why not? It's something that pops, and it's starting to like crock from my my denim and indigo shirts that I wear. It's starting to have a little bit of the crocking. So this is a fun quartz watch that I love to wear, and also I like, let's turn it this way, these digital G-Shocks quartz that are just fun. They're inexpensive and they're fun, pop of color. The one thing that I like about this one is that I can have, like a GMT, I can have my local time and another time on the display in digital. So I can have an analog display with the hands, and I can have a digital, let's say if I'm traveling, and have that time where I am in digital, or vice versa. I really like that about this particular. I think with these, I don't know if these have, I know one of my other G-Shocks, I can, you just hit, and then you can hit the mode. Let me see. Let's see if I can do it on here. I don't remember. Yeah, no, this is just stopwatch timer, and this I believe is the same stopwatch timer. But I do have another G-Shock which I can do a world time in. But so I think these are fun. You will always catch me wearing a G-Shock probably until I'm about 80 or 90 years old. I will own some type of Casio G-Shock because they're just great watches that you can knock around. And for example, if I dropped any of these here from my waist up and they fell to the ground, I would not have a problem whatsoever. But if I dropped any of these, or the one on my wrist, if they fell from my waist up, I would probably start crying, be like, no, what did I do? So that's the plus in like wearing one of these. Also, if you lose this or it breaks, it's like $100 or whatever. It's not a big deal. And these are, I will always love a G-Shock. I know some people poo-poo them, but you can't. It's like you can't go wrong with them. They're just great. Yeah. So I do have other quartz watches, but that's not really worth mentioning. Not that they're bad. They're just not really like worth the mention. But yeah, these are my vintage. I thought about it. I do have a couple other vintage, but we'll start here, guys, because who knows? And some of you may not be interested in my watch collection whatsoever. But I do own other vintage watches. But these are probably my all stars, I would say. I hope I'm not leaving one out that I'm like, he's like, hey, what about me? But these are my vintage watches, and a couple of cool Casio G-Shock quartz watches. But there you go. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time with a watch and a boot.